Всем привет, друзья! Вы на канале про блокчейн. С вами Максим и Вячеслав. Сегодня мы не одни. Сегодня у нас в гостях соучредитель проекта Nervos Network Кевин. И сейчас мы проведем интервью и позадаем ему интересные вопросы. Потому что этот проект собрал немаленькую сумму. Он есть на CoinMarketCap, попадает в топ-100. Поэтому поехали сейчас на английском.
Да, всем привет,
Okay.
будет интересно.
Okay, let's start in English. Hello, Kevin. Please make a short intro about yourself, about your background, how you come in crypto.
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name is Kevin Wong. I'm one of the co-founders of Nervos Network, and so my background is engineering. So I was trained as a software engineer and work at one of the larger companies, IBM, for several years, IBM Silicon Valley Lab, and did a lot of the big data sort of research and engineering. And then I got into the startup world, and then built my own company before starting with Nervos Network. And so for me specifically, the crypto journey is like everybody, many others, started with the Bitcoin. And so I think I read the white paper, I think in 2013, 2014, I can't remember, but and it was a very shocking experience for me. And so I started to become a hobbyist. I started mining a little bit, and then got to understand the technology and everything. And so finally, when the right time came, and I joined some of my friends and started Nervos Network.
Okay. This is very interesting. And please, can you tell what was the main idea to create Nervos, and tell us a little about your company and about the team who make Nervos.
Yeah. So the team that made Nervos, so we have been in this crypto space for quite a long time. In particular, China were kind of the core, or were among the core group of people that brought Ethereum and to China and evangelized Ethereum in China. And so one of our co-founders, Jen, he used to be a Ethereum core researcher, and then used to work with Vitalik with Casper and sharding research. So a lot of the ideas that, the reason why I started Nervos is from, his front row observation of the challenges and, the issues that with Ethereum, his experience with Ethereum. So Nervos Network is designed as a layered network where, strictly the layer one is designed to be a decentralized and secure proof of work based public blockchain. And, the goal is not to scale as much as possible on layer one, but it rather plays a limited role as the the layer where you preserve, you issue and preserve value of the entire network, of the valuable assets, and then scaling would happen on layer two. So the layer one is designed with that context in mind. So I think that, happy to dive into more details, but a very high level, that's what Nervos Network is.
Okay, and tell me please, why Nervos still use the proof of work?
Yeah, so a lot of it comes down to, I think when we started, there were a lot of proof of stake blockchains projects got started, and really most of them, the reason to choose proof of stake or more novel consensus algorithm is it's for better scalability. But for us, we want to make sure that scalability is not strictly a layer one concern, right? So we feel that, again, with the maturity of layer two and supporting layer two, layer one doesn't have to be designed for scalability. And then we look around and we find proof of work algorithms Nakamoto consensus has it was really the only one consensus at the time that had a track record, more than almost 10 years of running production in an adversarial environment without being attacked. So we felt very good about using proof of work and Nakamoto consensus. So our consensus mechanism is a you can say revised version of Nakamoto consensus, where we optimize its performance to the maximum because the bottleneck is the network bandwidth, and then so we basically use that to be so we have a block time basically that's adjustable depending on network condition, right? And also we have a specific design that aim to solve the selfish mining problem. So it's probably too much to dive into details on here, but for any people that's interested, they can look at our consensus note white paper, and it goes in pretty detail about these.
Okay. And another question from our audience. Who is your main competitors, and what is the main difference between Ethereum, Cosmos Network, and what is the strongest parts of Nervos?
Yeah, I think, it's probably a little bit too early to talk about competitors, because I think all of us, we're here running experiments, and for the entire industry, it's very early. And so it's not that just we say this, right? But I think we really feel this way, that all these projects you mentioned and many more are very worthy experimentations, and then we're here to try to push the boundary and see where they will take us. That said, right? So you mentioned a few projects. You mentioned Ethereum, you mentioned Cosmos, and there may be other projects out there. And for Ethereum, I think we took a lot of inspiration from both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so our architecture fundamentally is very similar to Bitcoin. It's much similar to Bitcoin than it is to Ethereum, right? So if you look at, from that point of view, everybody start with Bitcoin. You start with Bitcoin, and then you want to say, okay, so how we're going to support a general purpose sort of smart contract capabilities, right? And then you can either go the way of Ethereum, which you use the account model, and then you have virtual machine, and then smart contracts, and running on the platform, or you can sort of stay with the UTXO model, and then but have a more general purpose UTXO model, and you are able to have you preserve that what has worked well for Bitcoin, and but you add the scriptability, right? So you still introduce a layer of virtual machine, and have what we call, instead of account model, you have this thing called cell model, which is what we use. So like UTXO, but can represent any type of assets, and then can represent any type of scripts instead of just the Bitcoin script, and then have them running on virtual machine. And it's verification based instead of computation based like Ethereum, right? So computation happens outside of the blockchain, and then verification happens on chain, just like Bitcoin. So that would be the main difference between Ethereum. I think we're also Turing complete, so anything you can do with Ethereum, you can also do with Nervos. And so the main advantage of building things this way, I think it has this natural sort of layer one build for off-chain scaling or for layer two technologies, right? Because computation happens off-chain, so that you can have different type of channels or layer two chains, side chains that can do the computation, but with specific verification algorithms that you can confirm the validity of these confirmations. I think we see a lot of zero knowledge based sort of scaling approach coming up in the recent months or last year or so, and then those really lend them pretty well into the Nervos platform.
Can you speak a few words about Huobi and Nervos cooperation? I find it on Medium.
Yeah. Yeah. So we
this text, yes. This interesting topic about Nervos and Huobi. In what way you cooperate?
Yeah. So we are basically the technology or infrastructure provider of the Huobi chain. So the Huobi chain is built with our layer 2 blockchain framework. It's called Muta. So it's Huobi chain is built with that. So that is the framework that we use to have developers to build layer 2 chains automatically. So think about this as a like Cosmos SDK or Substrate, but you can easily build up a layer 2 solution, and basically you can issue your contract or your apps on layer 1, and then easily build your own scaling solution with this framework.
Yeah, understand.
And another question from me. I see the topic on Medium too about biggest, largest China commercial bank, and I found the announcement that you will cooperate with them. And in what way? And could you introduce what kind of crypto economic you expect on CKB in future?
Yeah, so those are pretty big questions. So I will take the first one, and then we can get to the second one.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are working together with China Merchants Bank International. It's a major international bank, one of the largest banks in the world. And then they're very progressive in terms of pursuing, what can be done with blockchain tech in general. They're very fluent in financial services use cases in that way. And then they also have a huge, reach into, the customers and, the users. So the area that we're starting to experiment is the mostly like financial use cases, right? So this is mostly similar to a lot of the DeFi use cases that you've been hearing about. So we're pretty excited about this partnership.
And the second part of this question, could you introduce what kind of crypto economic you expect from CKB in the future? This is talking CKB. Okay.
Yeah. So this is an area that we actually did a lot of research, and then we feel that that it's under researched in the space, right? So I think most other blockchains just assume if the blockchain itself is successful, then the token will have value for some reason, right? And so we took a lot of research in this area, and then fundamentally for layer 1 blockchain, we believe that the goal of existence is to provide this anchor of trust, right? To become this global settlement layer of all crypto economy, whether they run outside of other chains or directly on layer 1, right? So for that to happen, we need to make sure that the token will have value, because if the token does not capture the ecosystem value, then it's not possible that the consensus algorithm can incentivize either miner or the validator to provide security over time. Smart contract platform in particular have this challenge where you can issue. Anybody can issue any type of assets, right? In terms of tokens, like all the ICO tokens. It's not just one. It's not just one asset. So for Bitcoin, for example, there's only one asset running on the blockchain, which is BTC. For that, the economics model can be straightforward because, if your asset value, because for every block, the miners are compensated with the same number of Bitcoins. So which means if the Bitcoin value goes up 1,000 times, the miner compensation also goes up 1,000 times, right? Just from that block rewards. And then that will, this is sort of like attack and defense when you have a city, right? So when, what you're trying to protect, the value goes up 1,000 times, you have 1,000 times of more defense. So you can still defend the city, right? So it's, because people are trying to, attack the city if there's more valuable things inside. But for any smart contract platforms, because there are multiple assets, so you want to make sure you design the crypto economic system where if the aggregate value of the entire platform, including the native token, including the user issue tokens and everything, crypto assets, if they go up, then your defense also need to go up, right? So this is really difficult for Ethereum, and for basically any other platform than Nervos CKB, where if you have these many type of assets, if they go up in value, then it does not necessarily mean your native token will go up in value or your miners revenue will go up. Therefore, you will attract more hash rate, for example. So fundamentally, that's what we're trying to build. We try to build the platform native token so that the demand for all assets running on the platform will generate demand for the native token. Therefore, the native token can capture the value of the whole ecosystem. And so, I'm happy to, again, dive into the economic model, but I think for the purpose of this interview,
Okay.
the listeners can dive into.
Could you tell us more details about public grants for $30 million for third-party development?
Yeah, so this is a program that we just released last month. Want to encourage the participation of community developers to help build an ecosystem. We had a pretty successful fundraise, late last year. So we have this fund resource in hand that we want to invite the best developer in the world to help us build the ecosystem. And to do everything ourselves is not possible because it requires many expertise and requires some of the best engineers. So the best way that we can think of is to put the money here and say, look, we would love to work with the best all over the world, and then here are the things we want to be done. And then if you have these expertise, we're happy to work with you and then compensate for your time. So it's been going on pretty well so far. So it's out for just about a month. Then we have received many very top quality proposals. So we're very happy about it.
Okay, and about next steps of Nervos, and I'm very interested in how will you work with Russia community and other different regions, such as maybe Ukraine, Belarus, something like that.
Yeah. So we would like to work with people all over the world, and we're building up a program called Regional Leads Program, and which we're gonna we want to find people that are enthusiastic about the projects and then want to help us expand into different regions. So those are going to be the sort of the connector between the project and the local community. We're also happy to work with people in the local community with resources and either engineering or media or other types, and then we're happy to go through the grants program with specific community grants that we can work with them. But really, I think we're very open. We're a newer platform, and then for any product community, even like mining community, miners and so on, we're easy to find, we're easy to talk to. Just come to find us. And then, we have a community on Discord and Telegram as well. It's very easy to find. So yeah, just to reach out and then, have a conversation.
Great. We are making a huge event in Ukraine in the next month. Maybe you
That would
can
be fantastic.
Be there
Yeah.
too. I will send information to your team. And another question from you. Maybe you have some insights for 2020. Maybe some big projects will work with Nervos. Do you have some insights for our community pro blockchain?
Yeah, so I think you have mentioned two, which is our, two of our strategic partners, Huobi and CM, China Merchants Bank International. I think there are projects in the pipeline that we're working with them to be deployed on our network. But other than that, I think there are quite a few developer teams from the DeFi space that are very interested in start building on top of us. There are also I think in particular, I mean, we welcome everybody from everybody everywhere from the world, but in particular in China, we have got quite a good pipeline of developers that are prepared to build projects. It's a little bit early to say like exactly what they are because the conversations are quite early, but I'm optimistic of things that will come up.
That's great.
What about bug bounty? I something listen about 1 million for bug bounty.
Yeah.
Do you have
we still have that. Yeah, we still have that open and running, and we started this before the mainnet, and so we have people claimed a few small ones, but we haven't. We want to give those out, right? Because giving those out will mean that people find like really big bad bugs that before they can be exploited. So it's still running, and we're all the code that we run is open source. So we welcome people to go through our code and or just try to attack the network in innovative ways. And yeah, we still have the bug bounty there.
And I heard the Nervos ASIC machine is coming soon. Few words about this.
I heard about this too, but we haven't seen that in real form yet. But I heard about them too. Yeah, I think it's a natural evolution for POW projects going from CPU to GPU, FPGA to ASICs. So we look forward to it.
I think we have a very interesting guest today, but our time for not long videos because now attention is very expensive and the people need to fast move forward. And I think 25 minutes is very good. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us. And maybe we will see you in Ukraine meetup on maybe another time in our next live session and something like AMA session with our community, or maybe you create something like Russian Telegram channel and we can help you in this.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, that would be fantastic. I look forward to go to Russia and Ukraine and that part of the world. And it's actually the country I visited first when I was a kid, when I was like 12 years old. So I have some personal good feelings about Russia, about the people there. So I look forward to revisit someday.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Спасибо, ребята, огромное за то, что посмотрели это видео. Не забывайте, все ссылочки мы оставим под этим видео, вы переходите. Все, спасибо за просмотр. Всем пока.